Hello, everyone. Michael Jordan fans are the best. And you know what isn't? Restream. Because we've been going through technical difficulties over the last 35 minutes. And this is the nail in the coffin. Restream, if you hear me, get your stuff together. Maybe I'll be a customer sometime in the future, but not anymore. We're on StreamYard now. And besides all of that stuff, we're going to be talking about week 3 in the NBA and the review for it. And the title of this show is Are the Cavaliers going to win the title? But first, before we get into all of that, let's welcome the panel. First, we got Scap Attack. How are you today, sir?
Doing well, Dart. Thanks. Thanks for having me. I guess that was a good endorsement of StreamYard. Shout out to you guys. And as for Restream, you guys are ass.
Absolutely.
Hey, Steph, you got to trademark that.
And we got Robin here, Sports and Fitness Rants. How are you, sir?
Yes, you guys know the deal, man. Once again, it's great to be back with you guys on another Sunday show, man. My man Scap is in the building. Of course, Hoop God is here in front of the brick wall, man. Watch out, man. He's running through a brick wall for everybody out here. My man NNB Sports, Nick in the house. And of course, Dart holding it down, man. So once again, you guys, shout out to everybody in the chat. And you guys know the deal, man. Let's roll.
We've got the Hoop God _23. How are you, sir?
I'm doing absolutely fine, gentlemen. How are you all? A lot of wise men once told me great minds think alike. You know, iron sharpens iron, and it is imperative that we destroy these narratives. I'm ready.
We've got Nick, NNB Sports. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Big week for the Mavs. We got the Thunder, Warriors, and Nuggets all on the road in the next 7 days. Got to have a good stretch here. Cavaliers are 8th in the series odds or world title odds if you want to put some money on them at plus 1,700, just for the bettors out there.
Actually, I'm going to start first. And I usually never do this, but I think that the Cavs are really just being – I really haven't heard any of the hype of them being able to win the championship. However, I think that they have enough guys that are strong enough individually to really carry them at least deep into the playoffs. Now, obviously, it's still very early in the season. They aren't undefeated with a 11-0 record, and they're in the East, which looks absolutely terrible at this point. I think it's them and the Celtics, and everyone is 500 or less. So in contrast to the West, where you got a lot of guys that are over, that they're 6-3 or higher, whatever the percentage of that is, 66%. I think a lot of it is inflated at this point. However, I think that they got a good enough team that they could potentially make a deep playoff run. Will they win the championship? I don't think so. I think there's a lot more proven teams out there, to include the Nuggets, if they ever face them in the finals, just to throw a little jab in there about how well they've been doing lately. And the Cavaliers at large, I think they're a good team, and I'm glad to see them doing well. And for me, that's the biggest thing that I've noticed over this last week is that they're 11-0. They're the only undefeated team. I think the Celtics are 9-2, and I think I think the Warriors might have one loss, maybe two.
Now.
Yeah, but the aspect of it is that the Cavaliers, I'm excited to see how far they go, but I think at this point in time, I don't think there's enough evidence to see them winning the championship. Scap, what about you? What's the most interesting thing you've seen through week 3?
Well, yeah, just to follow up some points on the Cavaliers, just to add some context here. They are the last 10-0 team, the first 10-0 team since the Warriors in 2015-16 did it. Believe it or not, the Warriors in 2015-2016, the team that would ultimately go on and win 73 games, they started the year 24-0. I didn't even remember that. I was looking at the last couple teams to get 10-0 starts, and they were 24-0. But when you look back since 2000, so since the turn of the century, the Cavaliers now become the 4th team to start at least 10-0, joining the 2000-2001 Philadelphia 76ers, the 2002-2003 Mavericks, and then that 2015-2016 Warriors team. The thing that all 3 of those teams have in common is none of them won an NBA championship. So I think that the Cleveland Cavaliers are just going to be the fourth team in that grouping to not win an NBA championship. Now, with what you said before about the East, it is undeniable, reprehensible, and heinous ass. Like that, it is just so utterly appalling to look at there is 2 teams over 500 in the East right now, 2, and it is just the Cavaliers and the Celtics. Whereas conversely, the West has 11 teams over 500 right now. 11. Like if the playoffs started today, Dallas would be the 10th and final spot in the play-in tournament, and the Sacramento Kings wouldn't even make the play-in tournament. I mean, the West is so stacked. So when you say deep playoff run for the Cavs, I think absolutely they're going to probably get into the Eastern Conference Finals just by default because of how just disgusting that conference is top to bottom. But ultimately in a 7-game series, look, the Celtics are going to screw around this year, seemingly like they always do. They somehow have 2 losses already. They just lost to Golden State this week, and the Cavaliers may even get home court advantage over the Celtics, but they might drop a game or 2 in that series, the Celtics, just because they're going to mess around in that series. But ultimately, they have too much talent, I think, to not get out of the East. My major takeaway probably from week 2 is much of the same. Oklahoma City looks like, to me, the best team in the league still. They are leading the league in net differential still, winning by over 15 points per game in margin. They're 8-1. They have 1 loss this year. It was this past week to the guy that should be the runaway for MVP this year right now, Nikola Jokic. But we could talk about him in a little bit. Everyone knows I have to do my obligatory Jokic week in review. I'll pass on from now, but right now I'm not hearing his name for MVP, but I think he's probably by far like the overwhelming leader in MVP hierarchy right now through 3 weeks, and it's just ridiculous.
Robin, what do you got to say about week 3 or what Scap had to say?
Well, listen, man, me and Scott gonna get into it today, man, because I got some Jamal Murray stuff for him today, man. He's not gonna want to hear this stuff today. But listen, when we talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, for me, what it comes down to is the Cleveland Cavaliers look like a team that have been together for several years. They look like a core of guys that have been playing together for several years, and they seem to have it together more so than some of the other teams at the beginning of the season. When you think about guys like Jared Allen and Caris LeVert and Darius Garland, and you think about someone like a Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley, this is the core of the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've been together for at least, I want to say, 3 or 4 seasons now together. So what you're seeing now is that impacting the beginning of the season. So they look like a well-oiled machine pretty much. They've won in a myriad of different ways. They've won with Mobley leading them. They've won with Mitchell leading them. They've won with Garland leading them. They've won with Caris LeVert coming off the bench and giving them that punch off the bench. So for me, the 11-0 start for the Cleveland Cavaliers goes to them being a team, a very good team. Are they going to win the championship? Hell no, because your leader is Donovan Mitchell. And to me, Donovan Mitchell is not a number 1 guy. He's not a superstar level player. Donovan Mitchell is a very good player, but he's one of those Dwayne Wade lights. He's not a guy who's going to lead you to the promised land. And that's, to me, where the Cleveland Cavaliers are right now. They're probably one of the better teams right now in the league because of the experience and the cohesion that they have been showing on the basketball court. When we talk about some of the other things, what's standing out to me right now, Scab said more of the same for me in terms of, we talk about the Eastern Conference, we talk about these guys. What's going on with these guys getting hurt? Guys not playing already. Zion Williamson is out indefinitely. What the hell? You're out indefinitely already. But coming into the season, they talked about Zion Williamson lost all this weight. He's in shape. Listen, man, I've been into health and fitness my entire life, man. Half my channel devoted to these things, man. These guys ain't working out the way they should be. They're not eating and doing the things that they should be as professionals. All right, so what I'm seeing now is Kevin Durant's now out for several weeks. Who knows? It's the calf again with Kevin Durant. When you look at the way Kevin Durant's built, those long legs, and you talk about the Achilles tendons, and you talk about calf strains and these kinds of things, that's a dangerous slippery slope for Kevin Durant right now. We see John Morant's down now with a couple of weeks with a hip injury. We see that obviously Joel Embiid hasn't played a lick of NBA basketball in the NBA season so far. So what I'm seeing now is more of the same with these frail guys going down, guys being hurt. And once again, this is more of the same for the NBA. This is why the product is not that great, because the star players are not on the court, man. These guys are so soft and sensitive, man. And that's what I think is going on right now.
Hoopga, what do you think about week 3 or what any of us had to say?
So all of you gentlemen have made great points. First and foremost, I just want to shout out the coach, because had this been someone else that playing in LA, oh, they would be saying, man, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Hey, this guy, he's gonna come in here and revolutionize the game. But no, Kenny Atkinson should be getting his proper due, his proper etiquette. He should be getting all of the headlines and things of that nature, seeing that they're off to an 11-0 start. Now, I will be genuine and say, okay, can they keep this up? Probably not. But the fact that they're off to an 11-0 start, that shows me, like Sports and Fitness said, they have cohesion, they have chemistry, they have continuity. And I wanted to speak on the main things that I'm looking at, because when I look at a team, it's either they're overwhelmingly great in the backcourt and they're kind of lacking in the front court, or vice versa. But when I'm watching the Cavaliers play, they're playing just as good in the front court as they are in the back court. Like, what I'm seeing is, and I could be wrong, but I'm kind of comparing them to that 04 Pistons squad, where they don't care who get the glory. You know, one day it's Richard Hamilton going out there and lighting you up off those off-ball screens, catch and shoot. Next game, it could be Rasheed Wallace, you know, modern day stretch forward, stepping out behind the three-point line, but he can also give you production in the post. Chauncey Billups, Mr. Big Shot, you know, it could be any one of those guys. So when I'm seeing them playing, it's like, okay, they're playing off of each other based off, okay, who's got the hot hand, and they're not against making that additional pass to get the best shot. So when I'm seeing a team that has sufficient front court play, sufficient back court play, to me, that's a recipe for success, as long as they can keep it up, as long as it can be sustained, you know. So that's what I'm looking at. Like, I don't want to just jump on the bandwagon too soon, but I'm like, okay, if these guys get to about 30-3, I'm like, okay, I might need to reevaluate this, because now
I don't see that.
Right. What they're showing me is, when I just looked up some numbers. Right now, those Cavs are top 10 in defense. They're number one ranking right now. They're number 8 in defense. They're number 1 in team offensive efficiency. Team shooting at 52.8. If you want to run it up to 53%, number 1. 3-point shooting at 42.2%. They're number 1. And then their team assisted turnover ratio, they're number 4. So those rankings right there with that production, it could bode well for them. You know, like I said, when I look at Donovan Mitchell, yeah, he may not be that ideal leader, but I don't know. Maybe he's turned the corner. I don't know. I'm just trying to look at it from the glass half full. You know, I'm just be optimistic, give him the benefit of the doubt. But to sum it up, if they can stay the course, you know, the sky's is their limit. That's their ceiling. You know, who knows? So that's my take on them so far.
Nick, do you have a terrible take you'd like to share with us?
No, I don't. Although I will say, the Warriors beating the Celtics, I'm hedging my bet a little bit against that top 3 in the West kind of fade I made. But we'll see. It's a long season. But if this was like a buy or sell segment with the Cleveland Cavaliers, I would definitely be buying. I think after that big win over Golden State, you have to give it to them in this moment, right? If we're talking about week 3, where are we at? I think Cleveland deserves all the credit and the love right now. Speaking of which, right, the Warriors, which had that amazing point per game differential, the Cleveland Cavaliers now have the best differential in the NBA, or the second best, I'm sorry, behind the Thunder, and they're above the Golden State Warriors right now. They also have the best points per game, the number 1 offense points per game in the league as well. I don't know, man. Like, I think, like I said in the beginning, they're 8th right now in terms of odds to win the championship. You kind of mentioned the road in the East is not that strong. They're already it looks like they'll be a top 2 team in the East. It's hard to say, playing this well, barring an injury or something like that. It's hard to see them not being top 2 or 3 in the East at the end of the year, I think. I know it's early, but I would be buying right now. I think they have a good shot to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll see what happens when they play Boston this year, how those games look. And we'll get a feel if they have a real shot to go to the finals this year, which is crazy to say. I sort of can't believe I'm saying it, but if we are just going to take this snapshot right now, they have a legitimate chance to get to the finals. I don't see why not, right? So I would, if it was a buy or sell, I would be buying stock of the Cavaliers right now at a discount, considering they're plus 1,700 to win the finals in all. I think that doesn't match up. I think that's a good buy if I was to look at it like that.
Yeah, so based on differential, I mean, which I believe very highly in net differential. I think it is a fantastic way to evaluate teams and also to prognosticate what their ceiling might be down the road. So that, I mean, they do have their number 2 behind only Oklahoma City, but I will caution they really haven't played many teams. I mean, if you look, every game is a tough game in the NBA. Like any team could beat any team any night, but they really have not been challenged other than Golden State. Now they did destroy Golden State. I think they were up 40 at halftime in that game.
It was huge, yeah.
Which is just ridiculous because the Celtics just lost to Golden State. And that was pretty much a wire to wire win for Golden State. Just kind of controlled Boston. So, and then I hate to daisy chain games, but you see Golden State really play well against Boston and then go and get their doors blown off by Cleveland. So, I mean,
and that's why the differential, Nick, doesn't really mean as much as you guys are saying.
Because, well, I only brought that up because Scap was something he's been hammering, and Golden State just lost to Cleveland, right? And just looking at that, right? Just looking at that, they're number 2 in the NBA right now.
You were saying that you were hyping it up. I'm just saying, that's why what we're saying, the differential, and right now in this kind of style of play, I mean, think about it. Like you guys just mentioned, one game a team gets blown up by 40, and you're like, damn, how's it happen? I looked at some of these things in the first 2 weeks of the season, man. During the first 2 weeks of the NBA season this year, there were I want to say there were 5 or 6 games that were 30-point or more blowouts in the first 2 weeks of the season. There were I want to say maybe 9 or 10 games that were 20-plus point blowouts in the first 2 weeks of the NBA season. So what we're saying with the net differential, like you guys mentioned last week, the Warriors were so high in net differential off of 1 win. But during some of these games, what happens is because of their 3-point prowess and the amount of shots that they're taking, if you go cold from 3-point range and one team gets hot, all of a sudden, what happens? The teams don't know how to respond to missing all those threes. They just keep shooting threes. They'll just keep shooting them. There was a game that I saw Jason Tatum. This man took 17 3-pointers in a game. 17 threes. I was like, what is going on here? They'll just keep shooting. So you have a team will blow out another team. When we talk about the Eastern Conference, where are the New York Knicks? The New York Knicks. Where are the New York Knicks, man? They had the third best, or the second best odds to win the title this season behind the Celtics. It was the Celtics, the Knicks, and the Nuggets, the top 3 odds coming into the season to win a title. And
the Knicks are still 4th.
And the Knicks were the Knicks.
Odds.
It's crazy.
The Thunder were the second odds. It was Boston, the Thunder, then the Knicks were 3 behind.
I know they were up there.
Yeah,
and they're 4th now.
I saw that game. That was horrific, man. When they played the Pacers, I'm looking every possession, right, and I'm just counting 3. Now I'm at 7. 3. I'm like, wait a minute. So you guys are really trying to just utilize analytics and just go overboard with it. It's either threes or it's layups. I'm like, this is so ugly. I'm being serious when I say this. When I watched the WNBA finals, I saw competitiveness. I saw post play. Didn't see a lot of complaining. Seeing ball movement, player movement. I saw floor spacing. When I'm watching these games now, outside of the Warriors, outside of the Cavaliers, outside of the Nuggets, and outside of the Spurs, it's just a 3-point contest. And when they went into overtime, Pascal Siakam actually took a mid-range fadeaway. It just blew my mind. I'm like, wow. And he hit the shot, and it sent it to overtime. All these freaking threes, but yet you still had to take a mid-range to get to the overtime. I'm like, this is just ridiculous. But I'm going to be completely honest. I don't see the Celtics repeating with that style of play because it's too easy to stop. Once they go up against a formidable team that can run them off that 3-point line, we're going to see if you can do anything else. And if you can't, they're not going to win.
I wanted to say that, Nick, I thought that was the worst take. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, no, I think it's reasonable, right? Like, if you're going to look at this as a stock, I would say 100%, I think you should be buying some Cleveland stock right now. I would put it that way. Do I think they're going to win it? No, I don't. But
I want to share a story that I think I have shared it on this before, but something similar when the Sixers were plus 1,500. before they got Jimmy Butler that year. I went and I bet these two guys because I knew they were going to make a major move. They had all these assets. I still ended up losing, but just to the point of it is that I bought in on that anyway.
Hey, so who got you mentioned? I'm sorry, you mentioned the coaching of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kenny Atkinson is the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Does any guy remember where Kenny Atkinson was at before that? He was actually the coach of the Brooklyn Nets, man. And he had the Brooklyn Nets playing pretty damn good basketball before some guys like Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden showed up. You guys remember what happened to Kenny Atkinson? They didn't want to play for Kenny Atkinson. Who did they got? They got Steve Nash. Has anybody heard and seen Steve Nash lately? I have not seen Steve Nash lately. Don't know where he is. But you obviously, Kenny Atkinson, obviously he's a quality coach. Not saying he's a Hall of Famer or one of the all-time greats, but the man is obviously a quality coach and knows something about the game of basketball. And he's got the Cleveland Cavaliers playing like a great team.
Yeah, and I think Donovan Mitchell is an underrated first option. Let's call him that. I think he's kind of always
underrate
been
him, absolutely, Nick. I do.
Yeah, I mean, I say that only in the aspect of like a team ball. He doesn't seem like a diva per se. Maybe I'm off on that, but I'm sure there's some things he's done before, but he seems to just play ball, right? Like for the most part. So I could see that working.
Well, I wanted to say that's one of the things is that I think that maybe because people have been talking about who's the next guy. This is a way too early take, but who's the next guy up in the NBA? If he's able to get a good run, let's say make the finals or at least the conference finals and just show out really well individually, it might be him. Because to me, what I've seen, I haven't. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen him do anything crazy, say anything disrespectful, or bring guns, on Instagram. So.
That's the bar. The bar is guns now. He's not killing anybody. That's the bar we've set for the superstar professionals.
No, but to the point of it is that, people are like, who's the next guy up? Who's the next guy up? If they got a good run this year, why can't it be Donovan Mitchell?
I don't know. I look at what Donovan Mitchell's the probably the ceiling that he can create, I think, produce in this season would probably be like a Jalen Brunson type run from a year ago. Which to me is just like an anomalistic outlier of a season. Like I don't like Jalen Brunson when he did what he did last year. He was second team All NBA, and then he was leading the NBA playoffs and scoring basically the whole postseason, like with these crazy like 35, 40-point games, like game in, game out. But never once did I don't think I the pulse of the NBA community. I don't think anybody was like, well, yeah, Jalen Brunson is definitely taking over the NBA right now. Like he is now the guy. I don't think that was ever in consideration. And I would see the absolute peak of what Donovan Mitchell could possibly do this year as like a Jalen Brunson type run from a year ago.
Jalen Brunson had the New York media and hype behind him. When you play for the New York Knicks and you go on a run like that for the New York Knicks, have been in purgatory for all these years, that's what really made what Jalen Brunson, like you said, seem even greater than what it really was. And also the size of a Jalen Brunson. Not that Donovan Mitchell is this giant person. I believe he's only about 6'4", but that's what also made what Jalen Brunson was doing so spectacular. But you're right. To me, Jalen Brunson is never going to be a number one guy. And that's my thing with Donovan Mitchell. He has that talent. The guy's got 70-point games in an NBA season, in an NBA game. So he has that potency. You've seen him put up some points in a postseason. So he has that ability. But to me, he doesn't have the other things that encompass, the superstar level players. He's that next tier under. To me, like a Paul George, to me, was never a superstar in the NBA. That's where, to me, a Donovan Mitchell is. He's like that level kind of guy.
Yeah, I think it's I just want to say it's interesting. I joked about talking about the MVP at this point, but it never really is too soon to start talking MVP. And I think there was an undeniable push this season that we were not going to give it to Jokic this year, and basically whoever had the best record in the NBA was going to get it. So I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was just like this preseason huge betting favorite, I think, to win the MVP. I thought he probably would myself. And then when the Celtics started like they did, Jason Tatum is just, look, he just puts up great numbers. So there's going to be, I thought if the Celtics neared 70 wins, there might be this expectation that Jason Tatum, who's the number one option on a near 70 win team, scoring 30 points per game, like 6 rebounds, 6 assists a game, just about like, oh, well, we just have to give that guy the MVP. So I think the Cavaliers are resetting this MVP conversation because the Cavaliers are going to be a surprise team in the mix to have best record in the league this whole season. And like Donovan Mitchell is their lead at 23 points per game. Like, are we really going to give a guy averaging 23 points per game, 4 rebounds and 3 assists, league MVP consideration? Like it just kind of puts into context like how ridiculous it is to look at, say, oh, the MVP has to have the best record in the league, or the MVP has to win 55 games. Like, so basically, like, you're cutting off 90% of the guys that are like obvious, should be in obvious consideration because they don't have like a team strong enough to reach these arbitrary win totals during the regular season.
I have a fundamental disagreement with you, but I'll leave that for another day. Maybe we can do another whole show of what the MVP really means, because that'll just go down a deep rabbit hole. But since you mentioned this guy, and we've been talking about him, and you were really, really low on the Nuggets. How do you think the Nuggets have been lately?
Well, I still am low on the Nuggets, Darcy. My expectation going into the season was that the Denver Nuggets would still win 50 to 55 games because of nothing alone, but the sheer brilliance of Nikola Jokic, but that it's all smoke and mirrors. Like the success in the regular season, the wins that they get, they'll be a top 3 seed like I thought they would be probably going into the season. They have 0% chance to win the championship. It's a 0. Like it's not even like a 0.001% chance. That roster is simply not good enough. It's nowhere near good enough to compete with the upper echelon teams in the NBA. And that's why, like, look, he's going to put on a magic show. There's going to be some ponies, and he's going to be pulling handkerchiefs out of his little pocket that aren't going to end. He's going to snatch a quarter behind your ear. He's going to average a 30-point triple-double in the playoffs. They're going to be in every game. And then ultimately they're just at the end in the 6th or 7th game, like they're not going to have enough to overcome these substantially better rosters with substantially better shooters and substantially better defenders. Like they have no chance. So that I really haven't changed anything. My expectations on the Nuggets haven't changed at all. And I think Nikola Jokic is absolutely a decisive and slam dunk MVP this year. I think this is his best season by far right now.
Robin, what do you think about these Nuggets? Do you think Scap's wrong, or do you think he's right?
Yo, Scap is so hyperbolic, man, when it comes to the Nuggets. When it comes to Kobe Bryant and the Nuggets, man, you go off the deep end. Come on, Scap. Listen, I don't know where to begin here, but I'll be honest, man. Let's be real here. The Denver Nuggets are winning games because the Denver Nuggets have a solid roster, man. Let's be honest. The Denver Nuggets are one of few teams that have 6 guys in double figures. 6 guys are in double figures? I mean, listen, let's be real here. Guys are playing pretty damn good basketball, man. Are these guys the greatest players? Are they top 75 guys, Scott loves to say? Maybe not, but once again, 6 guys are in double figures for the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets also the number 1 team in drawing fouls. Does anybody realize that? They're the number 1 team in drawing fouls in the NBA. So they're getting to the free throw line. Do you guys realize that the Denver Nuggets have the higher free throw plus minus than the Los Angeles Lakers right now? They're a plus 73 or whatever it is at the free throw line. They draw the most fouls than any other team in the NBA. I'm not saying that as a negative on them. What I'm saying is that they draw fouls. These guys are doing things on the court. It's not just Jokic being out there with a bunch of guys that don't know how to play the game and they're garbage. They're not going to have it. They're 6-3 for a reason. It has to do with them drawing fouls. They're also the number 1 team in assists. So yes, Nikola Jokic, brilliant. Absolutely. The man knows how to play, make, and things of that nature. But guys have to knock these shots down, right? There are guys, multiple guys averaging 15 plus points a game on this team. So when we talk about being number 1 in assists, that obviously means you're a quality team, man. You're moving the ball around. Like some of you guys mentioned earlier, the Nuggets move the ball around. They're playing team basketball. Number 1 in assists, man. When you look at the other things that Nikola Jokic doesn't do, like play defense at a high level, let's say, when we're talking about the teammates around you, they do other things. They're also one of the top rebounding teams, one of the top rebounding teams. Other guys are rebounding. There's multiple guys averaging 3 or more assists on that team and multiple guys averaging 5 or more rebounds on that team. The Denver Nuggets have a quality lineup, man. When we talk about guys like Braun, who was drafted by the Nuggets, when you talk about guys like Watson, you talk about guys like Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. was like a number 4 draft pick in the NBA. He's had some injury issues. We get it with these guys, Jamal Murray and them, but they're a decent team, man. Are they going to win a championship? Who knows? Nikola Jokic is one of the all-time greats. So we should be holding him to the standard of the all-time greats, man. Nikola Jokic is in the same situation as a Patrick Ewing, let's say. Can anyone name me the top 75 guy Patrick Ewing ever played with? No. Did Patrick ever win an MVP awards? No. You know why? Because he played with Hakeem Olajuwon and Michael Jordan. If Nikola Jokic played in the 90s, he wouldn't have any MVP awards either, maybe one. He'd be in the same situation as a Patrick Ewing, man. So the Nuggets are going to be fine because you have Jokic. The guy's amazing.
The Nuggets right now are 28th in bench points per game scored. They're 28th. They're the second to worst team in the NBA in points per game from the bench, but they're even worse in net rating as a bench. They are second to last in the league.
6 guys in double figures. Your entire starting lineup is in double figures.
Can I let you talk the whole time?
Coming off the bench.
Hey, I let you talk the whole time.
I'm not addressing anything I just said, Scap. You're talking about bench scoring. I didn't even mention bench scoring. What's that doing anything?
I let you talk the whole time. Their net rating from a bench is second to worst in the league right now, behind only Utah. So they have literally the worst bench in the league, other than the worst team in the league, the Utah Jazz. Now, their second best player, who makes $50 million a year, Jamal Murray, first of all, has already missed 3 games. Because that's what he does. He misses games. His availability is lesser than that. Look, go back and look over the last 6 years since Anthony Davis got to Los Angeles. Jamal Murray has played in 40 fewer games over those 6 years than Anthony Davis has. So he's not available. Now, when he is on the court, he's averaging right now, this is a second best player on a team making $50 million a year. 18 points per game, 40% shooting, and 33% from the three-point line. Now, Nikola Jokic, you mentioned all these things about rebounds, assists. Nikola Jokic is averaging 29 points per game, 13 and a half rebounds, and 11 assists. He's 4th in scoring. He's 1st in rebounds and 1st in assists in the NBA. It's absolute lunacy.
He's not 1st in assists.
He is. He's leading the NBA in assists.
No, he's not.
He is. Look it up.
Listen, you didn't address any of my points, Cap. All you're saying is Nikola Jokic is a
someone
great
please
player.
look up and confirm if Nikola Jokic is leading the league in assists?
Okay, so once again, you didn't address any of the things I said. All the things I said about the Nuggets being a quality team, you did not address. All you did was make an argument for Nikola Jokic being a great player. No one said he wasn't a great player, Cap. Good for Nikola Jokic. Once again, you brought Jamal Murray up, and you continue to crap on Jamal Murray. Let's be honest here. Jamal Murray, in the title run that you talked about last week, that you brought up, they beat all these teams in the run to the finals. During the NBA of the Western Conference Finals, that same Jamal Murray averaged over 30 points a game on 50, 40, 90 splits. You show me another top 75 player that's ever done 30-plus points per game in a conference finals on 50, 40, 90, you will be hard-pressed to find that guy. So when you're talking about Jamal Murray, in that same conference finals run, in that same championship run, Jamal Murray led the Nuggets in points in 2 of those 4 series. The man is a quality player. The reason that he's not an all-star is, like you mentioned, he's been frail. No doubt he's missed games. But during that same time you mentioned Anthony Davis, the Lakers won a title, and so did the Denver Nuggets.
That's not true.
Was a huge reason.
He is not an all-star caliber player, even when he is healthy. Look at his career.
All-star caliber player?
No, he's an 18-point per game career scorer. He's like 18, 5, and 4 for his career. That's not all-star caliber. It's not. In today's era, where there's offensive productivity is at all-time high.
In the Western Conference Finals on 50, 40, 90, and you're telling me that
you're talking about one series, one playoff run. He's been in the league 9 years. What has he done since? He was garbage last year in the playoffs. Garbage.
2020 in the Western Conference Finals, Jamal Murray led them in points once again at 25. Nikola Jokic averaged 21 points a game. Anthony Davis averaged 31. He crapped all over Jokic in 2020 Western Conference Finals. Where was Jokic then? He can't play no D. Jamal Murray showed up when he was on the court. He didn't miss no games in either one of those runs. Come on, Scap. You're not giving Jamal Murray his just due. When he was there, he showed up.
All right, let's
He
welcome
showed up.
let's welcome AOH.
You know I'm right.
I know that Jamal Murray is not an
mean-
all-star player. Ever.
He's all-star
he never will
caliber.
be.
Yes, he is. When
He never will be.
Gentlemen, let's welcome AOH. AOH, how are you, sir?
Man, don't let me break that up. I missed Nick's terrible take, so what's the point anyway? By the way, he had a terrible take on his own show Wednesday. He just keeps going.
Wow.
What was it?
Remember? I don't listen.
Dude, this guy.
No.
It's just riveting,
Steam
man.
Engine called. Hey, ask Hoops God. He'll remember. Steam Engine called you out even. I didn't even do it.
Why you got coming in?
Anyways,
coming hot,
man.
I think it was my Paul
Man,
George.
I'm coming in hot.
Carmelo.
You two are going. You two are going.
Oh,
we
man.
do,
Hey,
man.
by the way, I can clear it all up. Scap doesn't like black players. He only praises Jokic because he's racist. Why haven't you given praise? Why haven't you done a video praising to Westbrook? Anyway, that's what's going around.
Interesting theory.
We're all racist or not for our people, depending on what we look like to the haters. So.
Hey, less is more with
That's the
Westbrook.
laziest
Russell
argument.
Westbrook has been doing pretty decently because less is more with him. You have more the court less. There's less opportunities for him to jack it up, man. And that's what you're seeing from Russell Westbrook, man. Listen, Nikola Jokic is a legend. This guy affects the people around him. So Westbrook is seeing what it is to be around an organization and a real leader. He's been around guys like Kevin Durant and James Harden. He don't know what it's like to be around a true professional superstar player like Nikola Jokic, man. He even says it himself when you hear him speak about being on that team. You can hear it in the words, man, that he says.
Yeah, less is more with Russell Westbrook. It's been more with Jamal Murray too, since they looked so great without Jamal Murray when he was out. I think maybe what they should do
Yeah, I'll say-
is slide Murray to the bench. I mean, we know he's never going to get any other accolades in his career, so he could maybe win Sixth Man of the Year this year to get something for the trophy case if they push him down.
You might be onto something there, Scap.
So currently assist
you guys were
leaders.
both.
Jokic is number 1 at 11.3. Trae Young is 11.1, and he's number 2. James Harden is 9.2 assists per game at 3. Ja Morant, shockingly, is 4th, and Cade Cunningham is 5th in assists per game.
Guys, it's just crazy. It's like Jokic is he's gonna average like a 28-point triple-double this year, like, and lead the league in rebounds and assists. Like, it's ridiculous.
Scap, we're 9 games into this season, man. We slow down here, man. You're being hyperbolic, man. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, this dude is doing his thing, no doubt.
But I bet nobody will have him at this stage of the season, despite the fact they start out 0-2. They're 6-3 now, so they're whatever 6-1 in their last 7. I haven't seen him like top 2 in any. I've looked at a couple MVP hierarchy projections, like NBA.com's or MVP ladder on some, like, for Jokic isn't in he's not in the top 2 conversation right now. And I don't know why, other than the fact that the narrative was set preseason. Like, we can't give this guy another one. Like no matter what, happens. And
I agree with you, Scap, that other players, they might be in a position where it's theirs to lose. You're right. Maybe SGA has to lose the MVP this season. Like you mentioned, Jason Tatum. I had Jason Tatum as the MVP favorite coming into last season. That was my preseason MVP. Like you said, he had the hype around him with a lot of people. It was his to lose, but doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to win it by far because you had a good season. You have to still go out there and be an MVP. But yes, you have the front or the head track, let's say. But for Nikola Jokic, he may not be being mentioned right now with 9 games in, like I just said. But like you mentioned, the man's won 3 MVPs in 4 years or whatever the case may be. So you can't say that, he's not going to get the love, because obviously at the end of the year, he's been getting the damn votes for the MVP award, man. So let's just see what happens. And down the road, yes, SGA might be the favorite to win it, but he still has to go out there and they have to have a great season. He has to go out there and produce.
I want to say two things. I think that Jokic does have a real shot on paper. I'm not saying real shot realistically, but on paper, if he goes and he gets a top 5 team and he averages a triple double, leads the league in rebounds and assists and is top 5 or whatever, just similar numbers, but they also have the winning record to do it. I think it would be they got to give it to him at that point, because that's just it's never been done before. Or I don't want to say it's never been done before. Will Chamberlain, I think, did something similar before about 60 years ago. But besides that, it wouldn't have been done in a long time. My point is, though, not my point. I wanted to ask Nick about what you think about the Nuggets. How do you think that that's all going to lay out?
Yeah, so first of all, I do think officially Trae Young has 11.5 assists per game. Jokic has 11.3. I think that is the official assists per game. And to be fair,
fitness rants, baby, you know what it is, man.
those two guys are 2 assists above third place. Like it's essentially those two guys and then everyone else in terms of assists per game.
Jokic is ill, man. He's nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to what Scap originally said about the Nuggets. I do. In terms of what I think they're going to do this year, I kind of agree with him in that. I'll frame it a different way, though. He said they don't have enough firepower. The way I see it is, in a 7-game series, can Jamal Murray get you 30 points and 12 assists in 3 or more of those games? I don't think Porter Jr. or Gordon is going to be the guy who wins you a game or two. Possibly, maybe 1 or 2, but I don't think any more than that, right? And Jokic will obviously win you 1 or 2. So can Murray step up in a 7-game series to a championship run and 3 or more games? Can he just sort of get you over the hump? I don't think he has that in him, right? That's my opinion. I would be on the side that bets against that more than I would bet for it. I think they overpaid Murray too. I think he's a little overhyped. I think he's a good player, great player, well-rounded player. I just think they overpaid him a little bit, and I think to have him be your second guy, he's got to win you 3 games or more in a series, something like that. I just don't think it's in him right now. Even staying healthy is maybe still a question as well. I tend to fade that position. I just don't think he said they don't have enough firepower. I would put it as, can Murray get you over the hump in 3 or more games in a series, or really fill up the bucket, take some pressure off other guys. I just don't think he's got that in him right now. I just don't see it. He could change my mind, but I just don't think he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
Where you at, God? Where you at, man?
I was using the urinal per se. Anyway, AOH, what is the most intriguing thing you've seen over this last week? And on a sidebar, maybe to lead you into it, what do you think about Bronny James selling out his G League debut?
Oh, God.
Well, the most intriguing thing I've seen this week is Scap and France going at it just now. And I'm going to go ahead and take Scap's side just because his skin is a little bit paler. And here's a real challenge to Robin, though. You guys both put forth arguments for Jamal Murray. How did Jamal Murray do with the eye test for you, Robin? Because he was giving me a fucking heart attack last year in the playoffs. I was screaming at him 90% of the time, and then he'd shut me up with a good play. So does he pass the eye test for you?
I think we can all say inconsistency is the name of the game when it comes to Jamal Murray, man. When I make an argument, or when I try to give Jamal Murray some credit, is what I'm saying is that when Nikola Jokic has had success as the leader of the Nuggets, Jamal Murray, like Nick just said, the man was doing his thing during both of those runs. They've been to 2 Western Conference Finals, and Jamal Murray was the X factor getting there. He wasn't the X factor in the finals.
Look, Jokic and Murray were like 22 years old or whatever. They were like 23 years old in 2020. Like they obviously were not ready.
Why are you making excuses though, man? I'm just saying the dude
I'm saying what Jamal Murray's had 2 good playoff runs. One of them was when they were children. They had no chance to go anywhere.
No playoff run.
So Murray has 1 good playoff. Look, Robin, Murray has
Anyway,
one.
on purpose.
He has one viable playoff run when they had a chance to win a championship. One. And what happened when he had that one good run? They won the championship. That's my point. If he plays,
What I'm gonna do all day.
plays to a playoff level, they win the championship every year. If he plays at an all-star level in the playoffs, they win the championship every year. He doesn't. He's either not there or he stinks. That's why they can't win this year.
We just said inconsistent, Scap. You're yelling. Listen, you're not giving Jamal Murray any credit. You sound ridiculous right now when it comes to Nikola Jokic. I can't take you serious right now, man. Listen, I've broken down the facts for you. The facts. You're talking about the age of them in 2020. What are you? You're moving the goalposts, man. Listen, in 2020,
they had no chance to win in those playoffs.
In 2020, Nikola Jokic averaged 21
They're like
points
22
a game.
years old.
What?
All right, what's the next topic?
You're making an excuse for Nikola Jokic, a three-time MVP. You're making excuses for him now. Now we're going to age.
Bro, you're not consistent. You look back at historical players and you lack consistency. Michael Jordan is your GOAT, right? He's my GOAT too. He didn't win shit till he was 28 years old, my guy. He didn't win anything. He was out in the playoffs every year. Why, Robin? Robin, why? Robin, hold on. Why could Jordan not win shit for 7 years of his NBA career?
Tough week coming up, in my opinion, right? So we got the Nuggets, the Warriors, and the Thunder on the road. Those are going to be big.
Michael Jordan couldn't win shit in the first 7 or 8 years of his playoff run because he didn't have a viable second option. When he got one, he won every year. Nikola Jokic would win every year if he got a viable second option. He doesn't have one, my guy.
Did Michael Jordan ever have a teammate average more points than him in a series?
Gentlemen, let's
You can't even answer one question.
Didn't you ask me more than one question?
Crazy right now. I asked you a simple question.
Gentlemen, for one, AOH is banned from asking questions in respect to Jokic for the next 20 minutes.
I'll find another way to.
But
that's what I'm going to do all day.
Dude averaged 30 points,
I got
40, 90, and you out here talking some nonsense about how old Nikola Jokic was in 2020. I asked you one question about Michael. You said Michael Jordan. I didn't bring Michael Jordan up. You brought him up. And I said, did he ever have a teammate average more points in a series?
Okay, let's go.
Did he ever? Never once. Don't tell me Michael Jordan didn't win to his 7th year. You sound crazy, man.
Nikola Jokic was he was the first player in league history to lead a playoff run in points, rebounds, and assists in the 2023.
He
led the playoffs in VORP, BPM, win share, PER. But you're right. Jamal Murray carried him. You're right, Robin. You're right. My mistake. Nikola Jokic averaged a 30-point triple-double for an entire playoff run when he won the championship. But it was all Jamal Murray. You're right, bro. You're right. Let's move on. Next point. Yeah, totally. Jamal Murray, legend. Top 50 all-time player. You're right. Never made an all-star team in a 9-year career. You're right.
26 points per game for the top playoff run.
Gentlemen, let's let Hoop God give. Hoop God, what do you think? What's the most intriguing thing over this last week?
Well, of course, the elephant in the room. The guy from Akron, yes, his son going to the G League, which that's long overdue. The Cleveland Cavaliers, of course, are on 11-0, but the Phoenix Suns. Let me give them some credit. Did not see them being 8-1, and the reason why, I was talking to some other guys on another platform last year. I said they don't have a point guard. You have to have that guy who can get the other players involved, because we know that Devin Booker can get his own shot, Kevin Durant, and also Bradley Beal. Well, what happens to the other guys? You need a point guard to create that offense and organize the team when you have those broken down plays. That's when the point guard can show his genius. So now that they've addressed that issue with Tyus Jones, I'm shocked that they're 8-1, because I was already writing them off. I said, if they do not get a point guard, I'm not saying a top tier, but just get someone who can orchestrate the offense, they're not going to go far. And now that they're 8-1, I got to give them props, man. So that's the most intriguing team I would have to say as far as a team. Now, John Morant with 9 assists per game this early in the season, if he can keep that up, who knows what Memphis can do. So.
I wanted to add a shout out an antagonizer of the channel. FYF Sports apparently helped with scouting for some talent for the Suns. So who knows how much of his hand had to do
Oh
with their
wow.
success. Yeah. That he is an antagonizer, but I like him a lot more than a lot of you guys do. But he definitely does antagonize the channel. But yeah, AOH, I got another question for you. An actual real question. Or expecting a real answer outside of an antagonizing answer for Scab and Rants. What do you think for you? What has been the most intriguing thing over the last week in the NBA?
I got to talk trash at you first, Dart. Don't type in the chat. I sent you the link when you sent me 2 different restream links, and then finally sent a StreamYard link. I was up on the hill finishing my work this morning, all ready to go, waiting. Not working. The most intriguing, I mean, it's clearly how Bronny dominated the G League once he went down there. I don't know what could be a better headline than what Bronny's doing in the G League.
Yeah. I think what did he go 2 for 10 and or something like that. I saw the stat line. Yeah,
crazy turnovers again.
6 points. I think he had 5 turnovers. Solid debut.
Yeah, totally NBA at least prospect, right?
Yeah, the Lakers leading scorer, the Lakers leading G League scorer had 28 points in the game. So, and he'll never sniff a second on the Lakers' actual full team roster this year. But some kid that could barely, score down there in the G League level is going to continue to suit up for the Lakers and play meaningful minutes, apparently, moving forward. Makes sense.
Yeah, but
at the risk of being redundant, because we talked about this yesterday, but I spent a lot of time looking at that effort game where they came back and talked about LeBron's effort, and it was just astonishing, the disrespect being shown by both the coach and by the media. It was really astonishing, and also it was pretty eye-opening because I could only see the highlights while I was in the car after the game, and boy, they made LeBron look good. And then I got home and I watched the entire game, and boy, did LeBron look bad. Astonishing how much difference it makes when you watch the entire thing in context.
I wanted to somebody up here. I'm a young disciple, one of the trolls in the chat for quite some time now, says dudes are losers bringing up Bronny because he made it farther than them. Believe it or not, young disciple, I never had any real aspirations of joining the NBA.
That's like saying if you haven't played in the NBA, you can't talk about it, right? Like it's such a dumb talking point.
Yeah.
Stop listening to Windhorse and Nick.
I wouldn't want a handout anyway, because I know I'm not going to get the respect from the guys who've been there before me. So that's really not a flex. I mean, if somebody just gave me a handout, that's almost like you're standing outside every day begging for funds to feed your family. Like, that's not respectable. Like, who cares? If I can't earn my keep, if I can't, let me quote the regulators. If you can't be handy with the steel and earn your keep, then you shouldn't be there. It's just that simple. So
regulators. Anyway,
young disciple got us. We're picking on Bronny out of absolutely nowhere. Like, the media hasn't focused on him. Nobody said anything about him, and we just decided to pick on him. LeBron never mentioned him. LeBron never said anything disrespectful to NBA players about Bronny's abilities. I don't know what's wrong with the 6 of us just going and randomly picking this young kid to talk trash about. I'm sorry, young disciple. By the way, what title? I'm guessing you're the disciple of LeBron, right? Y'all are freaking weird.
Real fast with the young disciple comment. It goes both ways. So you talking trash on us because we put ourselves out here on YouTube, which is a way less bigger thing than the NBA. There's only so many people that play in the NBA. There's a ton of YouTubers. You coming after us is exactly the same thing that we're doing with Bronny. It's out there. We're going after it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be coming after us, but I'm also not crying about you coming after us. So
What did you guys say?
Your
What did we? Did I miss
comparison, your
something? What the
analogy.
hell did we say about Bronny? We were talking about Bronny. I know I didn't mention him.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
no,
yeah.
yeah, I didn't specifically mention his name. I said the guy from Akron, his kid
Oh.
going to the G League. So clearly he was listening. He was actively listening to that part. It's abundantly clear. Because like I said, I never said a name.
I can't
would have
see
been-
the comments today on the live stream, man, because I'll be digging in the comments on these fools, man. I can't see the comments today, man. So please, guys, let me know if there's some crazy stuff being said. Come on, man.
Dart.
You know what I'm saying? You guys set the record straight.
What's up, AOH?
Dart, if I could take you, the equivalent would be you when you never even did a single episode of your podcast saying that you would be better than the best podcasters out there right now, and then coming in and of course not performing as well as the top podder. And that's what happened with Brawny, but it would also be like people putting you in the news and saying, wow, look at this guy's podcast, he's killing it. I mean, why was Brawny all over my YouTube feed when did what he did? And I'm literally being shown as I'm scrolling what Brawny did in the G League when he didn't even do anything. Not to mention, why am I hearing about anyone in the G League at all in my YouTube feed, which I've never seen before in my life from the NBA? And he didn't even have a good game. He just finally got something to go through. So
I mean, listen, let's be
don't
real
clown
here,
us for
real fast, AOH. This is the best Michael Jordan fan podcast in the world. So I take a little slight to your. I know you started off with in beginning. If somebody said that before we started, but this is the best. So maybe
I should have used my own show. I should have used my own show, not yours.
Yeah, but you know what the problem, though, for a lot of these LeBron James fans and some of these guys who get sensitive with some of these points or LeBron James' son or whatever, is the fact that LeBron James himself has used his family, has used his son as a prop throughout his career. He's the one that used to go to his son's games and slam dunk on the rims at halftime. Why are you doing this? Why are you making a spectacle at your son's game? So you go to your son's game, you do a slam dunk contest at halftime to show out in front of the people there, but you never did a real slam dunk contest for the NBA fans, for your real true fans out there. So LeBron James has always used his son, his family as props. You've always support your son and family on social media. Everyone knows about his kids for a long time now. He's put his kids and family all over social media. He gets money from social media. So if you're going to put your family and use them that way, I mean, think about it, guys. He had his wife come on stage during an award show and call him the GOAT, respectfully. That's using your wife as a prop. How much respect do you have for your wife that you had her go do that? How much respect for her do you really have? That's embarrassing for me personally. I would never have my wife do that. You're not the GOAT, and even if she thought you were, why would you say that? So once again, you're using your wife and your family as a prop. He brings them and shows them everywhere he goes. Because remember, he's promoting himself as a great husband and father. Not only a basketball player, he's more than that. He's a great husband and father. I'm telling you guys right now, man, LeBron James is not a great husband or a great father. That's a very strong word to use when we're describing fathers and husbands, and there's a very wide spectrum of both of those. He's not on the great end of that, man, all right, from what I've seen using your family this way. So when they say, oh, you guys are talking about Bronny, that's all because of LeBron James. He's been using his son as a prop to boost his own legacy.
Well said. I don't think so. For the purpose of this, I don't think that StreamYard lets me add anybody on more than 6. So I think that today we're not going to have any callers because I have to get the new membership because Restream is absolute ass, as I terribly did.
You didn't do that good.
Yeah, I tried. Like Bronny. Didn't work out really well. Anyway, but yeah, I'm going to set this up. So we can't take any callers today, but in the near term, we'll be able to do it.
Tell them to comment. They got something to say?
Yeah, if you go in the let's go bring up some more comments. Goatcast Hoops is here. I'm going to pick him out first because good guy. He says, remember, almost anyone can pay to try out for the G League.
I
Any
didn't
of
even know
y'all
that. I'm going to go try out, man. Why not? Nah, I'm lying. I didn't know that, though, man.
All right. RC the Hawkeyes and Caitlin Finn says, Robin on here cooking per usual.
Man, listen, man, they love me, man. I just yell, man. That's all I do, man. You guys know that, man. That's what I say when I'm coaching. I don't know what I'm doing out there. I'm just yelling. The parents think I know what I'm doing. They come over to me like, oh, man, that was a great job, man. You're such a great coach. I don't know what I'm doing, man. I'm just yelling at the kids, man. Yeah, get over there. Get over there. Yeah, good job. Good shot. And love it.
All right. These comments are not very specific. But, yeah, if you have a specific question, put them in the comments. And please super
ask a
chat.
question.
Please super chat because I live on the street.
Don't do that, man.
No, but I if you
I
super
see
chat,
a-
I'll definitely do your comment. AOH, what'd you say?
Did I see a neon Michael Jordan fans are the best sign hanging up on your wall? In another
Absolutely.
video?
Yes. Have you not noticed that the
Nice.
last 15 times we did a live stream?
No, I mean I can like this frame is just showing me your shoulders and head only with your edit that showed the rest of the room.
No, I'm outside right now. I'm in my backyard.
Oh, wait, I think I can see the comments, man. Hold up.
It's on now.
Oh,
Nick, what do you,
man.
Nick, you got anything to add in respect to the NBA week 3?
No, I made a mistake in our fantasy league, though, and I accidentally set my lineup a week in advance, so I forgot to start a small forward. So I'm going to start 1 and 2, which I'm hating, but we'll see what happens. No, I mean, obviously Maverick news I'm always willing to talk about. We got a big week this week, as I mentioned, so next week we'll see how they look. I think it's a big week for us to see how we stack up against the best in the West. So we already beat Minnesota. It'd be nice if we could get 2 out of 3 between the Warriors, the Thunder, and the Nuggets.
What about you, Hoop God?
Who got wake up, man? Come on, man.
Oh shit, my mic was muted. No, because
Yo,
I
this
had
is live, man. Come on, man. I've been
No.
yelling all morning. You ain't up yet.
I had the game playing in the background, so I had my mic muted. But no, what was the question again?
Yo, I love you guys for real, man.
What was the question again?
Just general, anything else you want to bring up?
So I'm seeing that they're promoting this in-season tournament again. I don't know. Did you guys catch what Shaq said? Had an interview, and they were asking him, and they were like, well, "What do you think's wrong with the league?" And he basically told them, he said, the 3-point shot right now it's just being spam. It's almost like those spam phone calls. It's just over. It's over. 3-point shots. He said back when he was playing, which he's correct. You didn't have the Spurs trying to play like the Houston Rockets. You didn't have the Utah Jazz trying to play like the Chicago Bulls. You didn't have the New York Knicks trying to play like the Cleveland Cavaliers. Everybody had their own specific offenses. It was like he had it set up around your player personnel, right? So if you had big guys and bruisers like the New York Knicks, you want to play a half-court physical style of ball. Or if you had guys that get out in the break, like run TMC, you play to your advantage. But just everybody wants to shoot the 3 ball. And he said they're trying to blame Steph Curry. And he said it's not Steph Curry's fault. Because Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors do more than shoot threes. They just make it look so great that's the first thing people like lean towards. He said, no, the problem is everybody trying to shoot threes to keep up with the Warriors when the Warriors do other things outside of shooting the 3 ball. So just hearing Shaq like starting to speak up a little bit more, I like that. Charles Barkley, he's always kept it honest. I'm hoping that they can renew this contract because I generally like to hear Barkley, Kenny Smith, Ernie Johnson, and Shaq on those post-game interviews because they're not going to beat around the bush. They're going to give it to you straightforward, no sugarcoat, no tiptoeing. It's like, no, if you're playing good, Congratulations. If you're playing bad, I'm going to talk bad about you. And I really do appreciate that. So that would be my take on as far as the things going on in the league as of today. I don't know if they don't do something to get away from this whole 3-point, like I don't know, like the league is just the ratings plummeting.
Two things. Thank you, Eric C, for the super sticker. I'd have to look at my YouTube to see what it is, but I appreciate the amount of money you spent on that super sticker. Thank you, sir. Absolutely amazing. Second, Hoop God, do you think it's a novel idea that people are shooting too many threes? Or I'm not unsure what your take was on that, because I know that they I think everyone thinks that they shoot too many threes nowadays.
I know what his take
Hey,
was.
hang on,
if I can
hang on,
respond.
hey, hang on, Dart. There was a slight lag. Repeat that question.
No, I was saying I didn't understand what your take was, because it seems like at least everyone on this panel thinks that everyone shoots too many threes in the NBA right now. Were you saying it was a novel idea or something?
I'll answer for Hoops God, because I got it.
Oh, go ahead, AOH.
He's saying everybody, and they tried to respond to Golden State by playing the same way. And part of the beauty of the league sucks because you don't see different team strategies going at each other and seeing how different strategies look up against each other. Because I was thinking the same thing earlier this week. I don't know if it was Shaq, but somebody said everybody plays the same way. And I started so bad that I would actually like to see a team behave the way that the Bad Boy Pistons did, just because they were different and they had a different approach to the game. I don't really like that the Bad Boys basically didn't follow the rules, but like things are so, everybody's a copy of it that I'm almost like, Jesus, just give me anything else. Is that what you were saying, Hoops God?
Yeah, exactly.
We all see how AOH doesn't come down on Hoops God for bad takes, right?
But you know what it is though? It's worse than that though.
Oh shit, he's black.
You think the three ball started with the Warriors? Take. Like you haven't been saying that before the Warriors?
No, Nick, the 3-ball didn't start hold on, Nick. If we're gonna just be consistent, it really started with the Phoenix Suns with the 7 seconds or less. Now, the Dallas Mavericks actually won with that approach because they were doing other things outside of shooting the three. Like they were playing the in-between game, and Dirk could also dominate in the low post. But people look at Steph Curry as the all-time three-point leader and just automatically assume, oh, Golden State just shoots threes. No, they do not. Like Golden State, they shoot mid-range shots. They have guys who can play in the post. They use every inch of that floor, right? And you don't see a lot of teams doing that outside of the Nuggets, the Cavaliers, and the OKC Thunder. Like it's very few and far between. Even if you look at the Lakers, like God forbid, they actually have a nice inside game when they play through Anthony Davis. But we know what the problem is with the Lakers. But outside of them, everybody just shoot. I'm looking at Jason Tatum like, why are you training with Kobe and you shooting all these threes?
Yo, but you guys are hitting on the head. It goes deeper than this, man. It's deeper and deeper and deeper, man. When we talk about the three-point shooting, we talk about the analytics. What the real problem is that, like you guys were mentioning, everyone thinks that they can do everything on the basketball court. So when they say, oh, man, back in the 90s, big men couldn't shoot, they couldn't dribble. No, they weren't supposed to dribble. These big men are not supposed to be dribbling like this. They're not supposed to be doing these things. Yes, you would have some outliers. You would have some 6'10" guys, some 6'11" guys, some 6'9" guys that could dribble the ball, that could maybe shoot the ball from long range. But traditionally, historically, big men are not supposed to do these things. And why is that? Because they're not built to do these things. Now, what you have now is guys who are not built or don't have the skills, per se, to shoot threes that think they can shoot threes. So what we have in the NBA is what we're watching. When you watch the NBA now, part of the problem is all these threes lead to what? More missed shots because the percentages are lower. When you're watching a game, you see a lot of bricks, a lot of clanging. So like I mentioned earlier, you'll have a game where one team shoots 60 threes and maybe they make 15 of them. Maybe they make 18 of them. They've missed 40 shots. So you watch these guys shoot and miss. The problem with a sport like baseball is what? The percentages are low. They're swinging and missing a lot. You have to watch the whole game and maybe they score a run. Maybe a guy gets a home run. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. It's the percentages. It makes it hard to watch. If guys were hitting 600-700 and they're hitting the ball more often, there's home runs every time. Guys are running all over the bases. All of a sudden, baseball is more exciting. But for basketball, which we're watching now, like the All-Star game, for example, they shot over 123s in that game. 123s. That's not exciting. That's not going to captivate the people. So when you guys mention the way the game is played, it goes back to that word fundamentals. Guys don't play with the fundamentals anymore. They don't go to college for 3-4 seasons. They go to college for 1 year now. They come out and think they're expert dribblers. They're expert shooters. Everyone's shooting threes. Everyone's dribbling the ball over the court. And we see a bunch of idiots out here who think they're a jack of all trades.
Real fast, I want to thank Miss Casonia Jackson for the $4.99 super chat. I didn't realize just asking for super chats got you super chats. Well, actually, anyway. But thank
Pretty
you.
sad, Dart.
Very, very much. Yeah, I did my my homeless YouTube super chat thing. But
Help
no,
me,
thank
I'm
you very
poor.
much. On a sidebar, for the people that didn't join immediately in the beginning of this stream, I'm going to transition to StreamYard, and I won't get into the technicalities and details of that, but we had some very bad technical difficulties this morning, so expect to see more of this style of format. I'm going to pay for it, so it'll be more adjustable, and for some of my friends on this panel, they're gonna be using the same service as well, if per previous conversation. So that'll be coming soon, especially after this conundrum that happened earlier. And I apologize if you wanted to watch this show on somebody else's channel, i.e. Scaps, Robbins, Sports and Fitness Rants, or AOH's channel, or Hoop Gods, or NMB Sports channel. But I thank you for joining anyway, but they should be able to have them up on their channels the next time we do this. Anyway, I feel like we're kind of running out of steam. So do y'all have anything else that's pertinent y'all want to talk about before we shut this thing down?
Well, I had a part 2 response to Hoops God.
All right, let's do it.
Make Nick feel better.
He was saying it was a copycat league. I get it.
Jesus. I said this is part 2, not repeated part 1. God, as far as the inside NBA crew, I disagree. I think maybe they are dying at the right time and they can go out on a semi-high, because I can actually see them kind of going downhill. I mean, what Kenny Smith has done so far this year is deplorable. Barkley's getting Shaq, amazingly enough, is managing to get dumber. So maybe they should call it. We will miss them, but maybe their time is running out anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, Kenny Smith had LeBron James ranked number 2 coming into the season. I don't think there's any way that you can make a valid, sensible, lucid argument that LeBron James is still currently the second best player in the league. I mean, but Kenny Smith really tried to make an argument. And I did a video about this because to me, when he tried to give, some explanation or whatever he said that was, he sounded ridiculous, man. And this is what we're talking about. When I use the word integrity, man, these guys have lost all humility. They've lost all integrity. And that's why we have to set the record straight and stop these guys from rewriting history, man. I told you, wake up, you're in the freaking Matrix with this stuff, man. I almost cursed.
Yeah, I heard when Kenny Smith, I was like, wait a minute, man. I said, Kenny, are you auditioning? I'm like, Kenny Smith, are you trying to audition for Unclutch Sports? Because with that take right there, I mean, that's all they need to hear. I'm like, come on, man. Stop.
Because do you guys actually think Kenny believes that? I mean, he's
I
fairly intelligent basketball.
That's what I'm saying, AOH. That's
right,
what I'm saying. Like, how can you say that and believe that? Because what I said is, what you're doing when you say that, you're really taking away from the NBA product. What you're saying is that a 22-year veteran at 40 years old who hasn't played a lick of defense in years, who we've all watched destroy the NBA, you're saying that man is number 2 in the league. At this point, there aren't 2 more players in the NBA better than that guy? That's what you're saying about the NBA product?
Real
Pretty-
fast, though,
You
Justin
also heard his
Messenger. Real fast, Justin Messenger says he just wanted to say that Michael Jordan fans are the best.
Ah,
I knew that one good. Anyway, thank you, Justin Messenger. I appreciate your super chat.
this
Didn't
guy,
mean to
I
interrupt.
can't believe you, man.
Scap, what do you think about this one?
I just saw it pop up. I do like that one. The Kobe Bryant fans are the best. And quite frankly, generally there is a lot of overlap in Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan fans because they were so similar. Like their gameplay was very similar. Their mentality was very similar. Their outlook on the game and competing on both ends of the floor, being high-end scorers. I mean, very, very, very similar. Both elite winners. Essentially, if you like Jordan, then you like Kobe. Like if you love Jordan like I did, then I love Kobe then moving forward. And basically, you cannot like LeBron James if that's the case, which is why I've been a lifelong advocate against LeBron James, an outspoken advocate against LeBron James, because he's the antithesis of those two players. He just had a completely different ideology in terms of how he approaches the game and trying to steal cheap garbage titles and stuff. It's just, that's why it's shocking to me when I hear someone who is a fan of all three of those players. Like I can't reconcile that in my own mind. And by and large, I will say this: LeBron James fans are the worst.
Absolute worst.
Scap, this channel's about positivity. That's all we talk about here. Anyway.
That was good. That was good.
Cassandra Jackson super chatted another $1.99. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Leave a comment if you want, if you have anything to say.
In lieu of any comment, but a second super chat by her, I think or super things, or whatever it's called. I just want to infer that she was agreeing with what I was saying at the time. Like, he's like, yes, that this guy is that he's nailing it right now. I better throw another thanks there.
Yeah.
Who do y'all think is going to be the next team in the East to separate themselves? I mean, essentially we have the top two, and then everyone's 500 or less. Obviously, the Knicks feel like the obvious proven team that's going to come through, but are there any other teams in the East? I mean, the Pistons are at 6 right now, which I know they're tied, but
Yeah, I would have said the
This-
Orlando Magic if Banchero didn't go down with the injury. I would have said maybe the Orlando Magic because, I mean, last year I picked the Orlando Magic as a surprise team going into last season because to me they had some young talent. So, yeah, maybe the Magic if they didn't have the injuries.
I think this is going to be a shocking answer because I think the team is by and large trash, but I would honestly bank most in the Milwaukee Bucks figuring something out to try to scrape themselves up into to be a very distant 3, but probably like the next team because I just believe in Giannis. You know, no other reason. Like I just think that guy is such a great player that I feel like there's no way they could.
yeah, that's what I've been saying too.
Yeah, Milwaukee's just
There's an echo. I don't know if it's AOH. Maybe it's Soup God.
Yeah, I mean, the Bucks right now in some trade talks, they're saying, so, you know, they're probably going to make a move. So like you guys said, if they make a move, I mean, all of a sudden, because like you were saying, Scap, I think Giannis is one of those guys, man, where, you know, he could lead a team on a playoff run, man.
Yeah, and I think it just needs to be mentioned, like, Giannis has not been playing in the playoffs the last 2 years. Now, okay, yes, he did play half of the series, that debacle where they lost to Miami in that 1-8. I mean, if you remember, though, that season, Milwaukee was the number 1 seed in the playoffs. They had the best record in the entire NBA that year. They went in as the number 1 seed, and Giannis had that bad back injury, and he missed like the first basically 3 full games, and then he came back, and they just lost some insane games in games 4, 5, and 6, like crazy losses, like flukish, really crazy losses to Miami. And then the Bucks basically their whole season, they blow it up, they change the coach, they get Dame Lillard, and then Giannis hurts his calf going into the playoffs last year, where it looks like if he didn't hurt his calf, he would have been the 2 seed last year, but then he missed that whole first round, and they lose that series 2 to the Pacers in the first round last year. So I just want to see Giannis get into the playoffs. I don't care what seed line he's at, and see what he can do in a postseason run, because he's just been affected so badly the last 2 seasons. So I'm just hoping to see a healthy run out of him.
Yeah, that's a good point with the health with some of these players. Last year, going into the playoffs last year, there were a lot of big name guys down. Zion Williamson was down once again last year. Jimmy Butler was out in the postseason last year. Like you mentioned, Zion was out. Joel Embiid was dealing with the epilepsy or whatever the hell he had going on, the Bell's palsy. He had the broken eye orbital thing going on. You had all kinds of guys dealing with stuff, man. So yeah, I think when you talk about some of these things going on and the health of Giannis over the last couple of seasons, yeah, the Bucks are one of those teams, man, where you want to see these guys healthy and do something.
But the crazy thing is, though, you've made points before, and I agree with you about how frail a lot of these players are today, and how many high-level players are just missing like significant amounts of games every year. Like Giannis is actually he's kind of a sturdy, non-typically injury-prone player. So it's just been like some flukish stuff that's happened the last 2 playoff runs for him. So I'm hoping that it does not happen a third year, because he's having an amazing season right now. I mean, no one's really talking about that because the Bucks are terrible. I think they're 2-7, and there's all kinds of trade speculation swirling around. But I mean, he's just having another typically great year for him. I mean, like 30 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists on like 60% shooting. Like he's just kind of a machine. So hopefully, with how bad the East is, I feel like if he just gets in the playoffs, like they can maybe make some noise.
I want to say it's the 76ers. Well, we got Cassania Jackson here super chatting me, but a couple times, so I'm gonna put that up. But besides that, I think it's the 76ers, man. It's they got Joel Embiid, who's injured, Paul George, Maxey just got injured. I think they got a real shot at doing it. They've been consistent, at least in the regular season, about making the playoffs.
Hell no.
I'm a Sixers fan. Let me have my time. We're going to do it. We're going to do it this year. I've been saying it for the last 8 years, but we're going to do it this year. But I think I think they're the next team up, at least in the regular season. I think that they can pick it up. And once everyone's playing, if that ever happens, that they can make a good regular season run. And Cassania Jackson asks, how y'all feel about the LeBron fans and the media discrediting Jordan Bryant to lift up LeBron? I'll answer that first. I really think it's just the media teetering on people's recency bias, because once things go farther and farther away and you see things in your face all the time, you just go and you think, well, this is what I see right now. Unless you have that memory, unless you hang on to it, the aspect of recency bias is very real, especially when it's good. And I'm not saying that that LeBron James is better than these guys in any capacity. The point of it is that he is an all-time great in some capacity. So when you shove him down everyone's throat, you're gonna say, yeah, he's the greatest of all time, because that you're not getting Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant aren't playing basketball anymore, especially, not to be funny, especially not Kobe Bryant. So
that's terrible, Dave Darman. Come on, man.
But too soon. Anyway. No, the point of it is that with LeBron James is that, yeah, no, it sucks. In respect to the people that have memories to how these guys played. What do y'all have to say about it?
That's like one of the worst things I've ever heard you say, Dart.
I was being a meanie. I'm sorry. I said this about positivity, but I'm gonna go.
You went dark on that. That was dark, man. That was dark. I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah, I think the problem fundamentally is such that There's a running theme around the LeBron fan base that like we can't just appreciate greatness, right? Like we can't just accept, acknowledge, and enjoy what we're seeing in this moment of seeing an all-time great play. But the problem is the LeBron stan boys, led by their leader himself, LeBron James, like they have to always try to contextualize him by comparing him to others and trying to uplift him over them, like unnecessarily. LeBron James has been running around for like 8 years calling himself the greatest player of all time. Like when you do that, when you call out those other all-time great players, like you're raising the bar to such a level that you're opening yourself for that criticism. And I just don't think he comes even remotely close to some of the previous greats that we've seen. So, when it becomes a comparison game, the only way, because he falls shy in so many aspects, the only way that they can kind of rebut you is by trying to attack and diminish those other great players in some way. So it's just sad. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think the whole "we're done with the '90s" is just LeBron fans trying to take the backdoor approach to tearing down Jordan in his era. I've always thought that.
Nick.
Yeah.
That narrative was shorter than a fucking leprechaun. Pardon my language.
Yeah, it's already came and went. That is true. It was short-lived.
Now, I wanted to speak on something Scap was saying. Now, when you're in between the lines, right, the competitive nature, to me, it's justifiable to say you're the greatest. Why? Because you want a competitive edge over your opponent, right? Now, don't get off the court and say I'm the greatest, but you never say it on the court, right? And I think I heard Sports and Fitness Rant say this. You routinely say I'm the greatest player in the world, but yet you let Kevin Durant walk into a transition three and shot it right in facialized. You pause, no D. That's not indicative of the greatest player of all time. Now I'm saying this to say this. Outside of the court, right? I think Walter Payton quoted this. When you are really good, you got to tell everybody. But when you're great, everybody, including your peers, will tell you. That is the difference between Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Hakeem, Shaq, Wilt, Bill Russell, whoever. I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I don't want to miss anybody. Isaiah Thomas. Their peers told them how great they were. They never had to pat themselves on the back and dislocate their shoulder. That didn't happen to them. But this guy, he routinely has to tell everybody he's the greatest off the court, but he never does it on the court. So that tells me, no, you're not the greatest. Subconsciously, you cheated, because anybody else who won their championships, right? I don't recall Steph Curry saying, I want my damn respect when he won his fourth ring. I don't recall Magic saying that. I don't recall Shaq. I don't recall Jordan. I don't recall Kobe. None of those guys had to ask for their respect.
Yeah, I just want to slide this in. I know it's been said and talked about before, but the fact that like the only NBA players that play with LeBron that respect him or think he's like the greatest player ever are pretty much like a very young crop of guys that came in well after he had already, played throughout his prime. In the majority of LeBron's prime, like by and large, people never feared this guy. Like, I don't care what you say. Like, the consensus of the NBA community, guys that played against him in his prime, was that they were not afraid of him. Like, people feared every other great player that came before. Like, LeBron fans will try to say, oh, well, so-and-so, but his personality trait wasn't the same. You can't compare. No, you can't compare. Basically, every all-time player, when they played, had respect and fear of their peers. LeBron never did. Who was it? Jay Crowder was salsa dancing around him, like whenever they eliminated the Lakers, the Suns eliminated the Lakers. When did you see stuff like that happen to Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan? No one would dare, because they know that there will be reprisals. They know that those guys will come back and destroy you and humiliate you. Like, there's never been that feeling around LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys talked about, it's the rewriting of history. For me, that's the biggest problem I have. That's why I made a YouTube channel. I remember listening to ESPN. I remember listening to some YouTubers, people that have thousands and thousands of subscribers. And I'm listening to these people, and they don't know what they're talking about as far as it relates to the 80s and the 90s, the era that I grew up watching. They were talking about Michael Jordan, and I'm like, they can't be talking about Michael Jordan this way. All of a sudden, Michael Jordan 6-0 was he didn't play anybody. So not only are you trying to take away from Michael Jordan, you're taking away from the whole era. It's not just about Michael Jordan. I tell people all the time, I don't care if you think Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time or not. It's about setting the record straight on the 80s and the 90s, the guys I grew up watching. So what do you hear now? You hear the same things. Oh, the 90s was weak. There was a watered down era. It was expansion era. They're trying to rewrite their history. What else do you hear now? Now all of a sudden, Scottie Pippen was the greatest player on the Chicago Bulls. He's the greatest player on both sides of the ball. All of a sudden now, that was the reason why the Bulls were winning. You're rewriting history. That's not what I remember watching growing up. That's not how it went down in real life. What do you hear about Kobe Bryant now? They've reduced Kobe Bryant down to a shot chucker. Kobe Bryant's just a guy now that shot 44% from the field. He just took a lot of bad shots. He was a terrible teammate now. This is what they reduced down the great Kobe Bryant. When we talk about Kobe Bryant and Scap, you bring all the things you brought up in relation to the Michael Jordan, and you say something like cut from the same cloth. And the comparisons, those are not narratives. Those are not me just making up fabrications about Kobe Bryant. Those are actually facts of Kobe Bryant and how he went throughout his career, the way that he carried himself and the way that he went about his approach to the game of basketball. Those are facts. That's not anyone making these things up. When they talk about LeBron James and a lot of the guys today, they're rewriting the history. When you have to tear down the past eras to lift these guys up, what do I say? You're not standing on anything. How great could the guys be today if the guys before them were crap? What are you standing on? The reason why Kobe Bryant was so great is because he was chasing Michael Jordan. You're chasing greatness, not mediocrity. The reason why Michael Jordan was considered so great and all these other guys, they were being judged against the greats before them. He was being judged against Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain and Magic Johnson and Dr. J and Larry Bird.
I'm
He
realizing
wasn't being
something.
compared to the role players and the lesser guys. You're being compared to the greats. That's why you're standing on their shoulders. So when you tear down those guys, where are they standing today? The standard's been lowered for these guys.
What's
I'm
up,
realizing
AOH?
something about LeBron fans. I think I just realized they assume that we think the way that they do. Like they have attached themselves desperately to LeBron James, and they think we've attached ourselves desperately to Michael Jordan. The real reality is that I cheered against Kobe almost his entire career. I cheered against Michael the second half of his career. I was ready for Grant Hill to bring in the next wave. I was ready for Carter to come in. I had no need to hold on to somebody and believe something. It was LeBron James and despicable style of play that made me go back and actually long for a Kobe Bryant that I cheered against. It wasn't I loved Kobe and needed to hold on to Kobe. No, I cheered against Kobe. But LeBron James is so... Now I wish we had Kobe. Much less, of course, I wish we had Michael. But it's not because I always held on to those guys and refused to ever let go of them. LeBron James has sent me back into the past wishing for better days. It's not because always there. LeBron James sent me back.
Yeah,
Well said.
I think just real quick to analyze or to analogize this. In football, I'm a big football fan too. And I was back in the early 2000s. I was a guy, like I was a Peyton Manning truther that like kept saying like Peyton Manning was better than Tom Brady for a patch of years, and how like if Tom Brady and Peyton Manning switch places, like Peyton Manning would be able to do all this stuff too that Tom Brady in terms of winning the championships. But like after a while, just to make it as simplistic as possible, like when I was watching Peyton Manning cheering from in the playoffs in tight, like one possession games, like I was terrified. Like I felt like I was just waiting for him to make a mistake and for him to be the reason they lost. Conversely, me being a Tom Brady hater, like I would watch him in the playoffs and I would be terrified again in close one score situations because I knew he was going to succeed. Like I knew he was going to find a way to win. So like when I started just having those emotions, I knew that it was time that I needed to admit I'd been wrong for a few years. Tom Brady was by far the best player in that era. And that just to kind of make my point with the NBA, when I'm watching LeBron James teams in close one-score possessions in pivotal playoff games, like I'm so eager and giddy to see how he's going to throw up all over himself and take a massive steamer in his pants. And like he, by and large, never disappoints me. So like, how can that guy be the GOAT or like even one of the great players when he fails over and over again and you just know you can bank on his failures? Hilarious.
Hey, Scap, I want to add on to what you said. I think the problem is that he orders too many Popeyes biscuits and he doesn't have a strawberry soda. So I think that's the real problem.
God damn.
Yo, somebody in the chat said that the Toronto Raptors were scared of LeBron James. The Toronto Raptors, that's what we're going with. The DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry Raptors were scared. I guarantee they wouldn't have been scared if Kawhi Leonard was on that team. They wouldn't have been scared. It would have been LeBron James scared. Remember, LeBron James, the greatest player of all time, made that face over a 22-year-old Kawhi Leonard being checked back into the game. And you're comparing him to a guy, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, who were being guarded by some of the elite defenders at their time, and I never saw them give a damn. I never saw Michael Jordan worried that Dennis Rodman was all in his face or grabbing his jersey or trying to kick his legs out. I never saw Kobe Bryant worried about Bruce Bowen all in his jersey, all in his shorts. I never saw him worried about Doug Christie or any of these other guys all in him, man. He just played the game, man. He was focused. LeBron James is worried about these guys.
Where's Dart?
Oh, I just came back. I said I was going to be right back. My bad. I don't know. I have no idea what was said. But I do have an announcement that I wanted to invite you guys here. And I see Sports T in the chat, and she is welcome as well. I think if she joined, it'd be very interesting as well. I'm going to be having a new debate league, and I want to officially invite all of you, if you're interested in joining the debate league. Grand prize to be determined, likely a championship belt again, like the summer debate league. But yeah, would y'all be interested in joining another debate league of mine?
Well, yeah, will it be the same format, like the best teams, best player, best era, or will you switch it up?
All right, yeah. Let me run that down. Let me get my stuff together. So it would be it would be greatest players. What's that?
Oh, go ahead.
It would only be greatest players and greatest teams, because greatest eras is it's a lot more abstract, because you still get the same amount of awards, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the aspect of it is that, and there would be rule changes again to be determined, but it'd be shorter rounds, and the judging would be different. Sadly, I would not participate. I would be a judge, and it would be me judging, the debate, and then there'd be a live poll judging the debate. And if that was a tie, there would be a trivia shoot-off about the other person's team or player.
I'm officially retired from debating official debates, man. To me, when I started coming on YouTube, man, it was never to do official formal debates against people where people are getting notes and being prepared. You remember, though, when I first met you, I did a debate against Magic Johnson versus Michael Jordan. And the guy, you know, he was ready to go. He had his things. And we had a really good debate, man. And I had a great time debating people. I've done, several debates. But to me, to go back and forth, to debate on the fly, that's what my platform is mostly about, man. I don't record my videos. Like I always tell you guys, I don't write things down. I don't edit things. When I come on these shows, I don't really have anything prepared, so to speak. I know the topic that we're doing, and I kind of just let it fly. So for me, I'm retired from any form of debating. If people, I always invite any chat, anybody that's thinks that they know more than me or wants to talk about Michael Jordan versus LeBron James, these classless idiots in the comment section. If anything want to call the Sunday show, I will gladly debate you right there on the spot. No doubt about it, man. I'm all for that still. I'm all about that. But I'm not doing these formal debates and, hey, Robin, are you available at 7 o'clock at this time on this day to debate this guy about this topic? Come on, man. I'm done with that stuff.
So Dart, the reason why I asked is because when you did the first one and I went against Jim, I didn't realize that I didn't pick the greatest teams, like as far as just overall collectively, right? I think I misinterpreted and I put a team in there that collectively weren't an all-time great. They just had a difficult run.
Don't be making excuses,
okay.
man.
No. The reason why I'm saying that is because I got to go back and retweak my all-time greatest teams, because I had two different categories. I had a team that had the toughest runs, top 5, and then the overall greatest teams ever. So I got to just go back and retweak that because I kind of shot myself in the foot. So I'll be prepared for this one.
Scap, Nick, AOH, are y'all interested? I know AOH, you said you may have been.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I can make
their
anything work with my
excuses
schedule,
and
Dart, as you know, I'm
double it.
down.
Nice.
I
AOH,
saw
are you?
someone in the comment section say I'm ducking. Well, how am I ducking anything? I'm not ducking. Call up.
Connection.
You can call up anytime on a Sunday, man, and we can go back and forth, man. I hope to have my own show so I can have you fools call up to my show, and there won't be no editing. There won't be no one else around. Just be me and y'all, man. But I'm not doing any formal planned debates, man. I'm on the moment spur type of the dude, man. Life is too hectic, man. I can't be playing these debates. I literally had to drop out of the last debate league. Dart will tell you I literally forfeited the debate league because I can't be available sometimes.
Somebody says you can't call in this show. You can't, because this was a impromptu thing, because Restream is.
Man, we've been doing a Sunday show for how damn long, and you fools never call in. Y'all a bunch of scared clowns.
All right. Okay. Well, I think with that, we've been doing for an hour and 45 minutes. I think we should start shutting this thing down. Scap, you have any last words for the people?
Yeah, it's been great being on again, as always. Love shouting at Sports and Rants for at least one. We need to hit our obligatory at least a minimum of one shouting match quota every weekend, me and Robin. So I'm glad that we actually exceeded that. I think we hit 2 shouting matches between us this week. So that was good. That's good. It's always good to get on there. Other than that, I just want to say, Hoop God, my guy, tear that freaking trash banner down behind you. Just throw that away, burn it, do something, my guy. It's bad. Dak is now out. It's Cooper Rush era time now for the rest of the season, bro. It's not looking good for you.
Robin, what do you got to say?
Nah, man, yeah, another great show, guys. Had a great time with you guys, man. Yeah, but listen, the people in the comment section enjoyed me and Scap going back and forth. They said that we need our own show and do that on our own show, man. So maybe me and you one day we'll do a little salt and pepper, a little Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, like my man AOH do sometimes, man. And we'll get some shouting going back. But yeah, had a great time with you guys as usual, man. Once again, man, shout out to everybody in the chat, everyone that came through, anyone that donated to my homeless friend Dart here. Thank you for helping him out. And maybe he can pay his rent, and live another week now, have some food for his family. So thank you for everybody out there, like I said, that donated to our live stream, man. We really appreciate all that stuff, guys. So yeah, man, you guys always know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one, man. For real, thank you.
For people that don't know, Hawaii is the best homeless state to live in.
I would agree.
Hoop God, what you got to say?
Man, I enjoyed this impromptu minus the technical difficulties. Still think we had a great show. Actually, shedding some light on the Cleveland Cavaliers for once, outside of, the guy who steals all the ratings and headlines. So I don't know. I'm hoping that the Cleveland Cavaliers can continue on this success, maybe shock the world. Who knows? I mean, hey, if they get there, then maybe we won't hear about this other guy anymore, because we'll have to hear about, hey, what did this team do after he left and all that nonsense. Other than that, what's right, it's not always popular. What's popular is not always right. I'm quoting Howard Cosell, and it's imperative that we continue to destroy these narratives. That's all I got.
Howard Cosell said it's imperative that we destroy these narratives.
No, what's right isn't always popular. I got that from
All right. Nick, what do you got to say?
Nothing, fun as always. Yeah, I don't have much to add. Enjoyed it.
Come on, Nick, damn it, man.
I mean, I've already mentioned the Mavericks 100 times, but yeah,
dog, man.
again,
Damn.
big week for the Mavericks coming up. I'll leave it with that. That's all I'm focused on right now. Mavs play the Nuggets at 7 p.m. Central. Y'all should be there cheering them on.
What about Precision Hoops?
Oh yeah, on Wednesdays. Yeah, hoping that can be a
promote
regular
yourself.
thing.
Every Wednesday. Yes.
Sometimes every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday if we show up.
It always works sometimes.
Yeah.
It works every
Sex
time.
Panther by
50%
Odeon.
of the time. Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Thank you, chat. Thank you. And thank you, StreamYard, for working here. But thank you, Eric C., Casonia Jackson, Justin Messenger, for all your super chats. And I can see that easily. Another reason to go and call down this. Thank you, chat at large, for participating and having your own sidebar conversations as well. Thank you, panel, Scap, Robin, Hoop God, and NNB. And I hope all of you have a fantastic day, as our other friend on Common Sense would say. And Michael Jordan fans are the best.
See you later, gentlemen.